The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Okay, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. It's David, and welcome to our product training webinar. It's been a few months since we've had an opportunity to get together on product training. And over the last 3 months, starting the middle of January, I have been in 11 countries promoting the release of X39. And of course, that started on January 19th in Muncie, Austria. By the way, if you've never traveled there, it is absolutely beautiful. I would definitely recommend it. It's just outside of another amazingly beautiful town, Salzburg, Austria. A great place to vacation and relax. And as it turned out, wonderful place to celebrate the release of X39. We also saw X39 meetings in Copenhagen, Denmark, Milan, Italy, 5 different countries in Asia, including 2 different cities in Indonesia. Fantastic turnouts. And then we just wrapped up last week in March in the United States, in Los Angeles. And of course, that was an amazing event. I know that many of you that are on this call tonight were there. So let's get into the product training this evening. Because we haven't done product training in quite a while, because of the X39 launch, I am going to leave extra time tonight for question and answers. So with that, let's go ahead and get started. Okay, first thing I would like to share with you is that we have a brand new X39 testimonial page on our website. Now, we receive hundreds of X39 testimonials, so we're going to continue to cycle through these things and add more testimonials to the website, but we needed to start to categorize the testimonials to make it easier for people to find things that were going to be relevant to them. So if you go to lifewave.com, you simply go down and click on the testimonial link that we have over here. You can also get to it from the product page. And then as you scroll down the page, you're now going to find that we have headings for different categories of benefits from X39. So you can simply click on any of these things, and you'll see that you'll get to testimonials for whatever it has to be, or you could just see all the testimonials here. Now, this is our first release of this new format, and we are going to be updating this in about another week or 2 with additional testimonials. So we're sorting through all of that. So that's one thing that just wanted to let all of you know about. Okay, so on with the product training. We're going to talk about something tonight that's a little bit different that I think that you're going to enjoy, and it has to do with the subject of light therapy or phototherapy. Now, this is an article that was published in the Journal of Biophotonics. And one of the things that really makes LifeWave different in the network marketing community is our continued efforts to support all of our products with quality science and have clinical studies on our products. Most companies do not go to the extent that we do. So, by the way, if you want to get a look at our clinical studies, simply go to the website, click on products, and then down here under science, you'll find a list of some of our patents. I've got over 100 patents now, so not all of them listed here. And you'll find all types of clinical studies that we've done on our patches over the years, and you'll also see studies that have been published in peer-reviewed journals. So that's just at the science section of the website. Okay, but we're going to be taking a look here at a third-party article that was published in the Journal of Biophotonics, and there are a number of things here that I thought you might find of interest, so we want to break this down and share it with you. First thing to call notice to is that Michael Hamblin, who is the PhD that authored this article, you can see that he's associated with the Department of Dermatology at Harvard Medical School, as well as Harvard MIT Division of Health Sciences and Technology. So Dr. Hamblin certainly has quite a few credits to his name. So I prepared a document here where we could take just some of the content out of this article that I thought might be relative to our product training. Now, for those of you that are new to LifeWave, since we're having such rapid growth, be worth mentioning that our patch products are phototherapy products. So in other words, our patches stimulate the skin with light. There's no drugs or chemicals that go into the body. These are products that activate chemical systems in the body with light. Now, when you say that, some people are very skeptical. They say, how is it possible for light to change the chemistry of the body? And how can the patches work? Well, we're going to break that down tonight, and we're going to talk about that and look at some historical references. First thing is this one section from the article that talks about that low-level light therapy is approaching 50 years as a science. Now, actually, light therapy goes back thousands of years. There's even references in ancient Greece and ancient Egypt of applying different colored lights to the body to have therapeutic effects. And in the early 1900s, a scientist by the name of Finson was awarded a Nobel Prize for his observation on the biological effects of light on the body. So this has actually been around a long time. But as a formalized science, it was, you can see in 1967 that it was observed that a ruby laser, which was going to be used for destroying malignant tumors, the power level was too low. But as it turns out, many times in science, discoveries are made by accident, that this very, very small amount of light was observed to increase the rate of hair growth and increase wound healing. Now, this was in rats. And one thing that should be pointed out, and especially for those of you that enjoy looking at research journals, this is especially relevant with drug studies and cancer studies. About 95% of studies that are done in animals do not translate over into human beings. And there's many good reasons for why the biochemical systems in animals are going to respond differently than humans. For example, it's easier to give rats and mice cancer than it is humans. So sometimes when you're looking at things that are carcinogenic, humans are going to have a much, much higher tolerance for those materials than would an animal like a mouse or a rat. Light effects, though, are significantly different. We've seen this with our products, with dogs, cats, horses, that they respond to the patches very, very well. In fact, we have clinical studies that we've done on using the patches on dogs and horses. And this is because the effects that light has on living systems is rather universal. So from a research perspective, this is really ideal because it allows you to work with a non-invasive technology with animals and observe beneficial healing effects. The animals obviously aren't harmed, and they're predictive of what we might see in human beings. Okay, now, next section here. Since those early days, it's been found, and this is relevant to the patches, that using things like lasers and light-emitting diodes was not necessary. In fact, this spurred a change in the name from changing this to low-level light therapy to photobiomodulation. Now, this is a very significant change for a couple of reasons. First, the patches are going to use very, very small amounts of light. It's in the area, for those of you in electronics, it's in the area of picowatts. So incredibly small amounts of light that stimulate the skin. And as it turns out, you can activate receptors in the body with as little as 1 packet of photons. So that's incredibly small amount of light. But in this article, what we would want to pay attention to is that the name was changed to photobiomodulation. And that's a significant change because that describes how light can create a biochemical change in the body. And this is exactly what we're doing with the patches. We are using very specific wavelengths of light to create very specific biochemical changes. So for those of you that are wondering, each of the patches reflects different wavelengths of light. That's why silent nights will elevate melatonin, or the energy patches, they will increase fat burning, or aeon, which produces anti-inflammatory effects, or of course X39, which elevates copper peptide, which activates the stem cells. So this would technically be known as photobiomodulation. Now, another really interesting thing about this, keep in mind that LifeWave started in 2004 as a network marketing company, and I started the company in 2002. And back then, more than 10 years ago, it was the general consensus in the scientific community that light therapy was snake oil. Now, keep in mind, naturopaths, acupuncturists, chiropractors were all using low-level light therapy devices with their patients with extraordinary success. The problem, so practitioners knew that this worked. It wasn't a placebo effect. The problem, though, was the scientific community had not yet documented exactly how this was working, so they just wrote it off as being something that wasn't true. But, of course, over the last 10 years, this has completely changed. Photobiomodulation, as we can see, has made its way into medical schools, and there's even journals, such as the one we're reading from, that are specifically dedicated to the scientific study of light therapy. So it has really come a long way in the last 10 years. So a good question would be, why did it change? Well, as with anything in science, there are always new developments. And here is a researcher from Russia, Karu. And this is also especially important to the functioning of the LifeWave patches. Karu was able to identify the precise biochemical converter of light in the mitochondria of the cell. Now, what does that all mean? Well, the mitochondria is where the cell makes energy. So when we take in food and water and oxygen, the mitochondria will turn that food, water, and oxygen into universal energy that our bodies can use. Now, what's interesting about this is we, of course, accept that food is converted into energy that runs our body. But what was so exciting about this is that there is a mechanism, and the chemical is called cytochrome C oxidase. And this will be the biochemical that will convert light over into cellular signaling. In this case, it's called retrograde mitochondrial signaling. But it basically means different frequencies or wavelengths of light can be converted into a system that the cell can understand and respond to with biochemical changes. And this is exactly how the patches work. Next section here, we can see that there are whole societies which are devoted to the study of photobiomodulation or light therapy. So this is not fringe science. Now, if you download this article and you read the article, you're going to see there's many references to using light to treating different types of disease. Of course, we don't make any medical claims about our products, but there was one reference in here that I thought was especially interesting in light of some of our products like X39 and carnosine. Our carnosine patch came out in 2006, And of course, one of the things that we documented through clinical research was that the patch can significantly improve human performance, strength, stamina. And this is exactly what's showing up in this reference, that light therapy can improve muscle performance and recovery from exercise. So the functioning of our products are being validated by third-party researchers. That is the mechanism of action. And this final statement was really something. The author ends by saying, after decades confined to the scientific wasteland, so light therapy just being disregarded as snake oil, now today, photobiomodulation may be finally emerging into the light of day. So in other words, science is completely validating that light therapy works, which of course all of us know, and we've been documenting now for more than 15 years. Okay, so hope you enjoyed that short summary and short amount of information about light therapy. There's obviously a lot more to the story, but thought we could leave a little bit of extra time tonight for question and answers. So let's go ahead and go to some questions. First, is the X39 the only white patch that can be placed on the left side? By the way, for those of you that are new, you can just simply write in a question using the webinar system and I'll see it, or you can raise your hand and I will unmute your microphone. Okay, is the X39 the only white patch that can be placed on the left side? The answer to that is no, but it depends. It all depends on how you are using the product. So for example, let's say that you wanted to use the aeon patch and the glutathione patch to support a knee that was missing cartilage or had no cartilage. Want to be careful about medical claims here. But in any case, people can use that to help manage inflammation and pain and support the natural healing of the knees when there is no cartilage or a lack of cartilage. And so in that case, you could, these are both white patches. You could easily apply them both on the right side or the left side of the body. And by the way, the way to use them that way would be carnosine patch on the inside of the knee and glutathione patch, aeon patch on the inside of the knee, glutathione on the outside. Carnosine also is a patch that's used by women on the left side of the body when they're experiencing hot flashes. The carnosine patch is placed on the left side of the body on the spleen 6 acupuncture point. This is a very easy point to find. You just simply go 4 finger widths above the ankle bone on the left ankle, and you'll see there's a pressure point there. This is linked right into the hypothalamus of the brain. You put a carnosine patch there, it sedates the hypothalamus, and the symptoms of hot flashes reduce. So yes, there are definitely circumstances under which the white patch can be placed on the left side of the body. Okay. Oh, there's a concern that if other products don't get the same attention as X39, will they be discontinued? The great thing about this for our members is that they get to decide. So in other words, we have no plans to discontinue any other patches. We've already made announcements about this. But sure, we're going to look at this from a business point of view. The reason why we discontinued Theta 1 and Activate is because it represented less than 3% of our sales. And we had to buy 15,000 boxes at a time. So effectively what that meant was we would have to be throwing inventory out by the time we were coming up on the expiration date. So it just didn't make business sense for us to place another order of Theta 1 and Activate. I may want to come out with another nutritional supplement in the future. There's been something fun that I've been working on that I think our members would love, but we'll see how that goes. Okay, another question here. Okay, this is about X39. There's a tear on the hip. X39 has been able to reduce the pain. But is there a possibility that we can avoid surgery altogether? Sure, there's definitely a possibility. It has a lot to do with overall health, age, condition, and especially diet. So we think of the human body as a machine, and if we give the body all of the fuel and the raw materials that it needs, the human body can recover from many, many injuries. So what do we need? First thing is we need adequate amounts of protein and healthy fats. Now, there is, without getting into the subject of being a vegan or carnivore diet or paleo diet or any of those kind of things, all I simply want to say is that to repair an injury, there is no scientific debate. You have to have adequate amounts of protein. When you're building muscle, you have to have larger amounts of protein than with someone that's not trying to build muscle. And you absolutely have to have omega-3 fatty acids and monounsaturated fats in your diet. No matter what someone's philosophy is, you can't get around those scientific principles. So first thing would recommend is a good source of protein and fats are going to be fatty fish like salmon and mackerel. Otherwise, if someone's a vegan, you definitely should work with a nutritionist on structuring the diet so you get adequate amounts of healthy fats and adequate amounts of protein. Another thing that you should be looking at with repairing an injury is supplementing with collagen protein. We've seen some remarkable things when people supplement with collagen protein, such as regeneration of the knees, even when all cartilage is gone. And that would be, let's say, 2 servings, 10 grams per day. So 10 grams twice per day. That could be done in a smoothie. Even 1 10-gram serving might be okay. Another thing that can help facilitate healing is vitamin C. So 1,000 milligrams of ester C 3 times per day with collagen definitely can support wound healing. Glutathione, definitely going to support wound healing, obviously X39. So I would be looking at structuring the diet so it's rich in minerals like copper, zinc, magnesium, sulfur, and make sure you're getting adequate amounts of protein and fats. You also want to get some saturated fat in the diet. Could be from butter, heavy cream, coconut oil. Want to make sure you're getting saturated fats because those are used to make hormones. Okay. Oh, here is just a comment. That is so cool that you brought up Michael Hamblin, who has done over 400 studies on photobiomodulation. By the way, I passed this on. Another one of my favorite researchers is Dr. Harry Whelan. And Dr. Whelan actually was a captain in the United States Navy, and he received millions of dollars in funding from DARPA, which is the Defense Advanced Research Project Agency, which is a branch of the U.S. intelligence community and military, basically the research arm. And Dr. Whelan was funded to investigate the use of light at repairing wounds and injury. So in addition to Dr. Hamblin, definitely would recommend looking at clinical research done by Dr. Harry Whelan, W-H-E-L-A-N. Okay. Can we wear the X39 patch while doing red light therapy or infrared therapy? Yes, absolutely. I don't see any issue with that at all. And since you're asking very interesting questions, I'll respond this way. One way we can think about traditional light therapy is that the wave is not modulated to contain information. So you're getting a pure frequency or wavelength response in the body, which is fine. That has its value. The patches, however, the waves are modulated to contain information. And that's the single biggest difference between, one of the big differences between the patches and traditional phototherapy or photobiomodulation. So generally speaking, I don't see an issue with combining it with traditional light therapy. Okay, let's get on to some more questions here. Oh, hi David, I have been with LifeWave for over 8 years and love the patches. Thank you so much for your support of the company, and thank you so much, and glad you are enjoying our products. Okay, I am having an extremely hard time, however, with X39. It hasn't worked on my 3 dogs after being on the program for 5 months. It hasn't worked on 3 of my clients, so I am so concerned. I don't know what to do or say. We've tried it in different ways, but no luck. I'm not quitting it. I know that there has got to be a reason. Please help. Thank you. Okay, so let's break this down. First of all, not everyone is going to be a responder, but the number of people that respond is very, very high. In our IceWave studies, for example, we show that 96% of the people that use IceWave get a reduction in pain. Now, X39, of course, is very different, and the goal is to elevate copper peptide. So what are some of the things that could potentially go wrong here? Well, one of the obvious things, which would be unlikely, is that someone could have a deficiency of copper. So this would be something that you would want to check off. A good natural form of copper would be liver or chocolate. Now, many people are going to want to go for the chocolate, dark chocolate, by the way. But actually having a desiccated liver supplement or dehydrated liver has huge benefits, because dehydrated liver is also rich in vitamin A, B vitamins, and some enzymes. And they could significantly support the activity of X39. Of course, you can also take a copper supplement. Copper glycinate is one, and you would be getting about 2.5 milligrams of copper. Now, a companion mineral to copper is zinc. And if someone is zinc deficient, having a zinc supplement will help. But if someone does not have a zinc deficiency, adding zinc is not going to provide any additional benefit. So if you were to have 2.5 milligrams of copper, you might want to have 15 milligrams of zinc. And there are many different forms of zinc: zinc gluconate, zinc picolinate, and so forth. Zinc amino acid chelates are good. But in any case, that would be something. About 60 to 80% of the population has a deficiency in magnesium. Magnesium participates in about 300 to 400 biochemical reactions in the body, and this could be a likely candidate as to why someone wouldn't respond. So I would definitely recommend for everyone to take a magnesium supplement. A good one, a common one, would be magnesium citrate, although magnesium taurate is one of my favorites. Now, some other reasons. Not getting adequate amounts of protein or healthy fats. What's an adequate amount? Well, if you're trying to repair an injury, we might look at this the same way that we would look at how much protein is required to build muscle, because there's some relevance there. So let's say that someone weighed 150 pounds. They might want to take in 150 grams of protein per day, or even more. It depends on the nature of the injury or what exactly it is that you're trying to do. By the way, in comparison, the daily recommended amount of protein is about 48 grams per day, but that's just to sustain life. With 48 grams of protein per day, you're not going to have anything of consequence to rebuild damaged tissue. So that's why I would say look at 1 gram per pound of body weight as a guide. And that's also why I like to recommend fish as a source of protein, because it's consistently shown that fat will transport protein into the cell. So if you're just having a protein shake and there's no fat there, it's not going to be very efficient in terms of getting it into the cell. Carbohydrates also will drive protein into the cell to be metabolized. So there's other recommendations. Those are some of the things I would start with. And also, I don't know how you're analyzing the results. I can only guess that you'd be based on that the injury isn't healing or there's pain. So those would be some areas that I would look at. There's certainly a lot more. This is going back to a previous question. Will X39 block the benefits of red light therapy? We haven't done a study on that, but I can't think of any good reason why it would. Oh, here's a good question. How can we get a copy of this article? Apologies, because I probably should have brought that up earlier. If you simply Google photobiomodulation and Michael Hamblin, or you Google photobiomodulation or low-level laser therapy and Michael Hamblin, you will come up with this. And then here's the information here from the Journal of Biophotonics. Of course, you can also Google that information. And this was found on ncbi.nlm.nih.gov. But just doing a Google search, you'll be able to easily come up with it. Okay. Let's see what else we've got here. Does X39 help with structural, like out of alignment joints? Now, what I have used for that is carnosine and IceWave, and I know the chiropractors will use this. Although in my dad's case, and we have a member in Florida who has done this, just using X39 actually got rid of herniated discs. So I might try something along this lines. Use X39 at the back of the neck. Well, I'm making an assumption here on what joints are out of alignment. I was thinking along the back, along the vertebrae. I'll give you a general protocol. Let's just say it's the back. But when you're saying a joint, I'm going to assume that's maybe the elbow or the shoulder or the knee. You would use IceWave and carnosine around the joint. Let's say, for example, let's use the knee. You would use the white IceWave patch on the outside of the knee, the tan IceWave patch on the inside of the knee, and carnosine in the middle. Or even better, this has worked great for scoliosis, is you create a triangle. So you have the, just pull my camera back into view here. You have, let's do it this way. You have white patch, tan patch, and carnosine patch. So you would place the patches that way around the joint or on the back. And we're going to take maybe one more question because we're past the bottom of the hour. Let's see. Can the X39 be worn a second day? Why 12 hours on and 12 hours off? Oh, that's a very good question. Basically, the body works in waves or cycles. So, for example, you make melatonin at night, but you're not making any appreciable amounts of melatonin during the day. Testosterone, same thing. You get peaks of testosterone and other hormones in the evening, like growth hormone, but not appreciable spikes during the day. There's a cycle or wave to that, and we want to respect that cycle. Another phenomena is called attenuation, meaning if you just simply wore it all the time, eventually the body would stop responding. So you have to have an on and off cycle. So 12 hours on, 12 hours off is very convenient. And you could do that daily. So you could do that 7 days a week. As a matter of fact, our clinical studies on X39 are people using it 7 days a week, and that's where we see great results. So I'd recommend using it at least 5 days per week. But again, 7 days is what's in the studies. Okay, well, thank you, everyone. Sorry we couldn't have time tonight to get to all of the questions, but definitely appreciate you all being here. This webinar has been recorded, and we will be posting this to our YouTube channel. So have a wonderful evening, and looking forward to seeing you again next month on our product training webinar. Good night, everyone.